Let's be real. Being a student today feels like running a never-ending marathon, doesn't it? Juggling assignments, exams, social life, and maybe even a part-time job, all while trying to actually enjoy your life, can feel downright impossible. And those classic productivity tips. Wake up at 5 a.m., study for 8 hours straight, or just focus harder. Yeah, we've heard them all, and let's face it, they're either unrealistic, outdated, or just plain annoying. But here's the thing. What if I told you there's a smarter way to get things done, one that doesn't require sacrificing your sanity or your sleep? A way that's practical, grounded, and designed for the chaos of student life. Stick around, because in this video, we're diving into productivity hacks that actually work. Hacks that are less about perfection and more about progress. By the end of this, you'll have real tools to reclaim your time, tackle that to-do list, and finally feel in control of your workload. Ready to make your life easier? Let's do this. Number 1. Procrastination. Power hour. Procrastination. We've all been there, haven't we? That moment when you're staring at a long to-do list, knowing full well you should start, but instead you're scrolling, snacking, or convincing yourself that the dishes need to be done right now. But what if I told you that procrastination itself could become your productivity superpower? Sounds ridiculous, right? Stick with me for a moment because this might just change how you tackle your day. You know the type of day I'm talking about, the one where your brain is screaming, "I can't focus." You try to force yourself into working, but the more you push, the less you get done. We've all felt that frustrating loop. Now, here's the twist. Instead of fighting procrastination, you embrace it. Yes, you heard me right. Lean into it, but on your terms. Let me introduce you to the Procrastination Power Hour. Here's how it works. Set a timer for 60 minutes and allow yourself to procrastinate. Fully, unapologetically. Watch those random YouTube videos. Scroll through social media. Heck, reorganize your sock drawer if that's your thing. But here's the catch. It's intentional. You're giving your brain permission to roam free for that 1 hour. No guilt, no resistance. Why? Because procrastination isn't the enemy. It's your brain's way of saying, "I need a break before I can focus." When you allow it, you release the pressure and let your mind reset. And here's the magic. When the timer dings, you're far more likely to dive into your tasks refreshed and ready to go. I tried this myself during a particularly chaotic week at work. Picture this: deadlines looming, my inbox overflowing, and my brain completely shut down. Instead of forcing myself to work, I grabbed my phone and spent an hour watching hilarious animal videos. Zero guilt. Once the timer ended, I thought, all right, enough fun, time to get this done. And to my surprise, I knocked out 3 major tasks in half the time I expected. That one wasted hour saved me an entire afternoon of unproductive frustration. Now I know what you might be thinking. Isn't this just an excuse to be lazy? Trust me, I had the same thought. But the beauty of the Procrastination Power Hour is that it's controlled. It's not endless avoidance. It's a deliberate, guilt-free break that primes your brain to work better afterward. Think of it as hitting the refresh button on your mental browser. This isn't just about getting things done, it's about giving yourself grace. Life's pressures can make you feel like you need to be on 24/7, but nobody can sustain that. By embracing your natural need for a pause, you reclaim your peace and your productivity. So next time you're stuck in the procrastination loop, don't fight it. Schedule it. Set that timer, let yourself recharge, and then tackle your tasks with renewed energy. And here's the best part. It's not just about the work. It's about feeling in control, knowing you can give yourself what you need and still show up when it matters. Your time, your terms. That's the power of the Procrastination Power Hour. Try it. You just might surprise yourself. Number 2. The Midnight Study Pact. Let's face it, sometimes the best ideas come when the world is asleep. But what if I told you there's an actual strategy, a pact you can make with yourself to transform those late night hours into your most productive time? Yes, I'm talking about the Midnight Study Pact, a method that turns the quiet of the night into your secret weapon for focus and clarity. Sounds a little wild, doesn't it? Stay with me, because this might just be the game changer you've been looking for. You know those nights. Everyone else has gone to bed, the house is quiet, and you're left with nothing but your thoughts, a dimly lit desk, and the overwhelming sense that you should be asleep. But here's the thing, some of us thrive in the stillness of the night. There's something magical about those hours when the distractions of the day melt away. If you've ever caught yourself randomly being super productive at 2 a.m., you're not alone. The Midnight Study Pact taps into that exact energy, but with purpose and intention. The idea is simple. Instead of fighting your nocturnal tendencies, lean into them. Set aside a couple of hours late at night and commit to focusing on 1 or 2 high-priority tasks. Why does this work? Because at midnight, there are no notifications buzzing, no emails demanding replies, and no one knocking on your door. It's just you and the work. Plus, there's an odd sense of accomplishment knowing you're making progress while the rest of the world sleeps. It's like stealing time back from the chaos. I tried this during my college years when balancing a part-time job, classes and assignments felt impossible. One night, after tossing and turning in bed, I gave up on sleep, made a cup of coffee, and sat down with my notes. I told myself, just 1 hour, and then you can quit. 3 hours later, not only had I aced my study goals, but I also felt a strange sense of calm. It was as if the solitude of the night had stripped away the mental noise and let me work without judgment or pressure. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Won't this mess up my sleep? And sure, it's not something you should do every night. The Midnight Study Pact works best when you treat it like a secret weapon, reserved for those moments when your mind won't settle and the usual routines aren't cutting it. It's not about being a night owl every day. It's about recognizing the power of the night and using it wisely. This is more than just a productivity hack. It's about reclaiming a time that's often dismissed. It's about finding focus in the quiet and giving yourself the space to think, create, and grow without interruptions. Imagine finishing your work and seeing the first light of dawn, knowing you've taken back control of your time. That's not just productive, it's empowering. So, the next time you're lying awake, frustrated that you can't sleep, don't fight it. Make the pact. Embrace the silence. Let the midnight hours become your secret weapon for success. Because sometimes the best way forward is found in the stillness of the night. Number 3. Ditch the notes. Teach the room. You're probably thinking, wait, ditch my notes. Are you serious? Yes, I'm absolutely serious. Because let me ask you this. How many times have you spent hours crafting the perfect notes, highlighting, underlining, and making everything look Instagram-worthy, only to sit down later and realize you can barely remember what's actually important? We've all been there. But what if I told you that the problem isn't your study habits? It's your relationship with those notes. And the solution? Forget about perfect notes and start teaching an empty room. Think about it. You know the cycle, the endless writing, rewriting and color-coding, convincing yourself you're being productive. But deep down, you know what's happening. You're stuck in the illusion of progress. The truth is, the best way to truly learn something isn't to write it down 100 different ways. It's to teach it. No, not to someone else, although that's great if you have an audience. I'm talking about teaching an empty room. Stand up, talk out loud, and explain the concepts as if you're the professor. It feels weird at first, I know, but trust me, it works. Why does it work? Simple. When you teach, you force yourself to process the material in real time. You can't hide behind your notes or convince yourself you kind of understand something. You either know it or you don't, and when you don't, you'll know exactly where the gaps are. It's a psychological trick. Your brain shifts from passive consumption to active engagement, and once you've taught it, even to the walls, you'll remember it far better than anything you've ever written down. I remember trying this for the first time before a big exam. My desk was a disaster, notes everywhere, half-highlighted textbooks, and a mild sense of panic setting in. I couldn't take it anymore. So I pushed everything aside, stood in the middle of my room and started talking. I explained theories to my closet door, broke down formulas to the lamp, and even answered fake questions from my imaginary audience. It felt ridiculous. But you know what? By the end of it, I didn't just know the material, I owned it. And that exam, I nailed it. Now, I get it. This idea might sound awkward or maybe even pointless. But think about it. When you've been stuck rereading the same paragraph over and over, isn't that also pointless? Teaching the room forces you out of that rut. It's like tricking your brain into thinking, hey, I'm the expert here. And suddenly you start thinking like one. This isn't just about memorizing facts. It's about building confidence. When you teach, you're not just preparing for an exam. You're training yourself to articulate ideas clearly, to think critically, and to trust your own understanding. And let's be honest, who doesn't need a little extra confidence when it comes to learning? So the next time you're drowning in notes, stop. Put them down. Stand up, face the room, and teach. Pretend you're giving a TED talk, even if your only audience is a pile of laundry. Because this isn't about perfect notes or perfect study sessions. It's about finding what actually works, reclaiming your focus, and proving to yourself that you've got this. Ditch the notes. Teach the room. You'll thank yourself later. Number 4. The minimalist schedule. Burn. You've heard it a million times. If you want to be productive, you need a detailed schedule. But let's be honest. How often do those perfectly planned schedules actually work? You start the day with a to-do list longer than a novel, convinced you'll conquer it all, and by the time lunch rolls around, you're already behind, frustrated, and ready to call it quits. Sound familiar? Here's the kicker. The problem isn't you, it's your schedule. And I'm here to tell you something radical. Ditch the overpacked agendas and embrace what I call the minimalist schedule burn. Now, you might be thinking, what's a minimalist schedule and why are we burning it? Great question. A minimalist schedule is exactly what it sounds like, stripping your day down to its bare essentials. Instead of cramming 20 tasks into your planner and hoping for the best, you pick 3 things. That's it. Just 3. And here's the twist. By the end of the day, you let go of the rest. No guilt, no shame, no endless spiral of, I didn't do enough. You burn the excess, both literally and figuratively. Let's pause for a moment. You know the feeling when you write down everything you think you need to do. It feels productive at first, but then it morphs into a monster that looms over you all day, whispering, "You'll never finish me." We've all been there. The minimalist schedule burn flips the script. It forces you to prioritize what truly matters, because let's face it, not everything does. When you focus on just 3 key tasks, you stop diluting your energy across a million directions. You gain clarity, momentum, and most importantly, peace of mind. I remember trying this during one of the busiest weeks of my life. Deadlines were piling up, and every time I looked at my planner, I felt paralyzed. So, I tried something different. I wrote down only 3 tasks. Finish a project, respond to urgent emails, and schedule a meeting. Everything else? It could wait. At the end of the day, instead of stressing over what I didn't do, I literally tore up the unused part of my to-do list and tossed it in the trash. It was liberating. And you know what? The next day, I woke up feeling lighter and more focused than I had in months. Here's the beauty of this strategy. It's not about doing less for the sake of doing less. It's about doing what matters. It's about recognizing that we're human, not machines, and that no one's worth is tied to the number of check marks on a list. The act of burning the excess, whether you tear it up, delete it, or just mentally release it, symbolizes freedom. It's a way of saying, I did enough and that's okay. This isn't just a productivity hack. It's a mindset shift. It's about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your sanity. It's about learning to work smarter, not harder, and letting go of the toxic hustle culture that tells us we're never doing enough. When you focus on fewer things, you do them better, and that's where the magic happens. So, the next time you sit down to plan your day, try this. Pick 3 tasks, just 3. Commit to them fully, and at the end of the day, whatever didn't make the cut, burn it, toss it, or let it go. Because this isn't about perfection. It's about progress, balance, and finding the freedom to live your life without being a slave to your schedule. Let the minimalist schedule burn show you that sometimes less truly is more. Number 5, Phone Jail Challenge. Have you ever noticed how your phone feels like it's always calling you even when it's silent? It's like this sneaky little magnet pulling your attention away from everything else. You sit down to work or spend time with family, and before you know it, you're scrolling through photos of cats wearing sunglasses or watching yet another DIY hack you'll never actually try. Here's the bold truth. Your phone is the biggest thief of your time and focus. So today we're talking about a strategy that might sound extreme, but trust me, it works. The Phone Jail Challenge. Now, you might be thinking, what in the world is phone jail? Picture this. Your phone literally locked away, out of reach, out of sight, and, most importantly, out of your head. Yes, I know it sounds a little drastic, but hear me out. We've all been there. You tell yourself you'll just check one notification, and suddenly an hour's gone, and you've accomplished nothing except discovering your old friend's cousin has a dog that can skateboard. It's frustrating, right? The Phone Jail Challenge is here to break that cycle and give you back control. Here's how it works. You pick a designated time, say an hour or 2, and during that time, your phone goes into jail. Maybe it's a literal box you put it in, or maybe it's just a drawer. The key is that it's physically removed from your space. No sneaky glances, no quick checks, no exceptions. And before you panic, this isn't about giving up your phone forever. It's about creating pockets of uninterrupted time where you can focus on what really matters, whether that's work, hobbies, or simply enjoying a moment of peace. I tried this for the first time on a weekend when my to-do list was packed, but my brain felt like mush from constant distractions. I grabbed an old shoebox, labeled it Phone Jail, and set a timer for 2 hours. At first, I felt jittery, like I'd misplaced an essential part of me. But then something amazing happened. I started knocking tasks off my list, like a productivity ninja. I read a book I'd been meaning to finish, cleaned my desk, and even went for a walk. By the time I retrieved my phone, I didn't miss it half as much as I thought I would. And the best part? I felt accomplished and calm, not scattered and drained. The magic of the Phone Jail Challenge isn't just about getting more done. It's about breaking the mental chains your phone has on you. It's about proving to yourself that you don't need to be constantly connected to feel complete. This is about reclaiming your focus, your time, and your energy. It's about taking control of your habits instead of letting them control you. And honestly, that's pretty empowering. So, here's the challenge. Grab a box, a drawer, or whatever works for you, and put your phone away for a set amount of time every day. Start small if you need to, maybe just 30 minutes. The key is consistency. Use that time to dive into something you've been putting off, or just sit with your thoughts for once. When you finally retrieve your phone, you'll realize it didn't need you nearly as much as you thought it did. Take the first step and lock that phone up, because your time, your focus, and your peace are worth far more than any notification ever will be. Number 6. Reward rigging. What if I told you that your brain is already wired for motivation, but you've been playing the game all wrong? Here's the thing, we all love rewards, whether it's a piece of chocolate, a nap, or that satisfying feeling of crossing something off a list. Rewards are what keep us going. But here's the catch, you can actually rig the reward system to work for you, even when motivation is at an all-time low. Sounds a bit sneaky, right? Well, it is. But it's also incredibly effective. Let's face it, we've all had those days where even the smallest task feels monumental. You know the type, when unloading the dishwasher or replying to a single email feels like climbing Everest. You promise yourself a reward, like binging your favorite show, after the work is done. But somehow, the work never gets done, and you end up indulging in the reward anyway, with an extra helping of guilt on the side. It's frustrating, isn't it? That's where reward rigging comes in. It's about flipping the script and making your brain work for you instead of against you. Here's how it works. Instead of waiting until you've achieved some monumental goal to reward yourself, you strategically inject small, immediate rewards into the process. For example, let's say you're dreading cleaning your room. Set a timer for 15 minutes and tell yourself, once this timer goes off, I get to blast my favorite song and dance around like nobody's watching. The key here isn't the reward itself, it's the anticipation. Your brain craves it, and that little burst of excitement gets you moving. I remember trying this during a particularly stressful week at work. I had a mountain of tasks, and just the thought of starting made me want to crawl under the covers. So, I decided to rig the system. I told myself, every time I finish one task, I get to watch a hilarious 2-minute video of a dog doing something ridiculous. It was so simple, yet so effective. By the end of the day, not only had I finished everything, but I also felt genuinely good about it. The rewards weren't big, but they kept my energy and focus going. The beauty of reward rigging is that it's not about bribing yourself with extravagant treats. It's about creating a positive feedback loop where effort and enjoyment coexist. This isn't just about getting things done, it's about making the process feel lighter, less overwhelming, and even fun. It's like you're hacking into your brain's reward system and saying, hey, we've got this. Let's make it worth our while. So here's your challenge. Pick one task you've been avoiding and set up a tiny, immediate reward for starting or finishing it. Maybe it's a piece of chocolate, a 5-minute TikTok break, or even just stepping outside for some fresh air. You'll be amazed at how much easier it feels when there's a little carrot dangling in front of you. And as you keep practicing this, you'll notice something incredible. You'll start looking forward to tasks you once dreaded because you know there's something good waiting on the other side. This is about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your momentum. It's about proving to yourself that productivity doesn't have to be a grind. It can be playful, rewarding, and totally doable. So go ahead, rig the game in your favor. Your brain will thank you for it. Number 7. Zero Study Social Day. What if I told you the best thing you could do for your productivity is to stop studying for an entire day? Sounds counterintuitive, right? We've been trained to think that success is all about relentless effort, grinding it out, pushing through exhaustion, and sacrificing leisure. But here's the truth. Sometimes, the smartest move you can make is stepping back entirely. Let me introduce you to the idea of a zero-study social day. It's a day dedicated to recharging your brain, reconnecting with people, and, surprisingly, improving your focus and efficiency for when you do get back to studying. We've all been there. You're staring at your notes or screen, reading the same sentence for the fifth time, and nothing's sinking in. You feel guilty for not being productive, so you keep going, convinced that sheer willpower will break the cycle. Spoiler alert, it rarely does. That's because your brain isn't a machine. It's more like a sponge. When it's saturated, forcing more into it doesn't work. What it needs is time to wring itself out. And that's where the Zero Study Social Day comes in. It's not just about ditching the books. It's about filling that time with meaningful interactions that reignite your energy and creativity. So here's the strategy. Pick a day, preferably after a particularly grueling week, and commit to doing zero studying. None. Not even a quick peek at your notes. Instead, plan a day full of social activities that genuinely make you happy. Meet up with friends, call someone you haven't talked to in ages, or even join a group activity you've always been curious about. The goal isn't just to escape studying, but to immerse yourself in the kind of human connection that reminds you why you're working so hard in the first place. I tried this during my final semester when burnout was hitting hard. One Sunday, I decided to put away my textbooks and spend the entire day with friends at a park. We played frisbee, had a picnic, and talked about everything but school. At first, I felt guilty, like I was wasting precious time. But by the end of the day, I realized I felt lighter, more focused, and oddly motivated to tackle the week ahead. When I sat down to study the next morning, everything just clicked. It wasn't just that I'd rested, it was that I'd given myself permission to enjoy life, and that joy spilled over into my work. The psychological magic here is simple. When you step away from constant effort, you give your brain the space to process and consolidate information subconsciously. Adding social interactions to the mix amplifies this effect, because connecting with others releases endorphins and boosts your mental energy. It's like hitting a reset button for your mind. And the best part? It works without any of the guilt that comes from mindlessly scrolling social media or binging Netflix all day. This isn't about slacking off. It's about working smarter. Taking a zero-study social day isn't a sign of weakness or laziness. It's a declaration that your mental health and relationships matter just as much as your goals. It's about creating balance and realizing that breaks are not the enemy of productivity. They're its secret weapon. So here's your challenge. Pick one day this month and make it your zero-study social day. Plan it out, commit to it, and trust the process. When you come back to your studies, you'll be sharper, happier, and more equipped to handle whatever challenges come your way. Remember, this is about giving yourself the grace to step back so you can leap forward. Your brain will thank you, your heart will thank you, and honestly, your grades might just thank you too. Number 8. The 20-minute sabotage rule. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like your entire day derailed because of one tiny, frustrating moment? Maybe it was spilling coffee on your shirt, forgetting an important document, or even just reading a passive-aggressive email first thing in the morning. And suddenly, the rest of your day feels like a spiral of irritation, like everything and everyone is out to sabotage your peace. But here's the twist. What if I told you that you hold the power to stop that spiral within just 20 minutes? Yes, even when it feels like the universe has it out for you. Enter the 20-minute sabotage rule. Now, I know what you're thinking. 20 minutes. That's all it takes to fix a day that's already gone off the rails. Really? Yes, really. We've all been there, haven't we? You wake up with every intention to have a productive day, but the smallest mishap throws you off balance. You try to shake it off, but it lingers, clouding your thoughts, making you snappy and zapping your energy. It's like your brain is stuck in a loop, replaying that one annoying moment over and over. Sound familiar? Don't worry, we've all felt this way, and it's exactly why this rule exists. So here's how it works. The moment you feel that first twinge of frustration or self-sabotage creeping in, stop everything. Take 20 minutes to recalibrate. What you do in those 20 minutes is entirely up to you, but it has to be something that shifts your focus, grounds you, and reminds you that this one moment doesn't have the power to define your entire day. It might mean stepping outside for a quick walk, blasting your favorite playlist, or even sitting quietly and taking deep breaths. The key is interrupting the spiral before it gains momentum. Let me share a moment from my own life. A few weeks ago, I was rushing to a meeting when I realized I'd forgotten an important file at home. My heart sank. I felt the familiar wave of panic and self-criticism creeping in. Normally, I would have let that one mistake ruin my mood for hours. But instead, I remembered the 20-minute sabotage rule. I pulled into a nearby park, sat under a tree, and spent the next 20 minutes sipping coffee and jotting down some thoughts in my notebook. By the time I got to the meeting, I felt calm, collected, and ready to move forward. Sure, the mistake still happened, but it didn't own my day. The psychology behind this is simple, yet powerful. When you pause to reset, you're giving your brain permission to let go of the emotional charge tied to the frustrating moment. You're breaking the cycle of rumination and reclaiming control over your thoughts. It's like saying, "Okay, that happened, but it doesn't get to take over the rest of my day." This rule isn't just about managing bad moments. It's about showing yourself grace and resilience. It's a reminder that you're allowed to hit the pause button, even in the midst of chaos. And guess what? The world won't fall apart because you took 20 minutes for yourself. In fact, you'll come back stronger, clearer, and more equipped to handle whatever comes next. So, the next time life throws you a curveball, remember, you have 20 minutes to flip the script. Use it wisely. Take a walk, breathe, laugh, or just sit in silence. Whatever you choose, make it count. Because your day is worth more than one bad moment. This is about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your focus. This is about proving to yourself that no matter what happens, you've got this. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you found these productivity hacks helpful and that they give you a fresh perspective on managing your time as a student. If you found this video valuable, please hit that like button. It helps so much and it lets me know I'm on the right track. Don't forget to subscribe for more practical tips and tricks on making student life a little easier. And hey, if you know someone who's drowning in assignments or struggling to stay on top of their work, share this video with them. We all need that extra boost sometimes, right? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below and share any personal experiences or productivity tips you found helpful. Let's keep this conversation going and build a community of students who lift each other up.